welcome to season of the interviews. The interviews is a series brought to you by the Central New York Business Journal, where we talk to business leaders around Central New York. My name is Vance Mariner. I am the Director of Marketing and Research at the Central New York Business Journal, and I am joined today by Matt Funicello, and he is a real estate salesperson at JF Real Estate. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Vance. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, so our focus for this season is on family-owned businesses, which JF Real Estate is one. And aside from that, I'm sure some people watching this have seen JF Real Estate signs around Central New York. But for those who are unfamiliar with the company, what can you tell us about JF Real Estate?
Yeah, so whenever we mention our company name, that's one of the first things people say is that they see our signs around a lot. And we like to hear that because exposure is a big part of our business. What we do mostly is commercial real estate. That includes industrial, office, retail, medical space. We also have a residential real estate division where we focus on single family homes. Our general area is greater Syracuse that we focus on, but sometimes we'll go outside of that when needed.
And how long has JF Real Estate been in business?
We've been in business for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary in December of last year with the Center State Ambassador Group.
And who was the founder of the company?
My dad was the founder, John Funicello, and he founded it the year I was born, actually. So that's how we keep track of our anniversaries is by my age.
All right, so you're a second generation family business. So how long have you been working in the company?
For 6 years now.
6 years. Okay. So you've been there 6 years, but obviously it's been a part of your life, since the beginning, apparently. What can you say about how the industry has changed, or the business has changed over the years? In your perspective?
Well, especially in the last two to 3 years, we've seen a dramatic change in office space and the demand for large office spaces. As you can imagine, COVID had a big impact on the need for large office space. We used to have multiple requirements per year for that kind of requirement, and now we have just every so often a big office user coming through. So the focus has been more so on industrial lately. I think with COVID, there became an increase in demand to supply things locally rather than overseas, and therefore the need for industrial space became more popular, and the rent and supply started to increase as well. So it's been a shift in the type of space that's needed. And then throughout our office and through other offices too, I'm sure there's been a sort of a digitalization of records. So we used to have a lot of things documented on paper, and now a lot of that is getting transitioned over to computer records. And that's something that's happening at our company as well as our competitors, and I'm sure a lot of other businesses in the last few years.
So what do you find are some of the challenges or opportunities as far as operating as a family-owned business?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think one of the biggest challenges, and it's kind of a funny one, but is separating family and work. So when I'm at my parents' house or my grandparents' house for our weekly dinner, it's sometimes hard not to bring up a work conversation. And a lot of my other family members who aren't involved in the company would probably rather talk about other things. But every once in a while, my dad and I will get caught talking about work things at dinner. And that's definitely a challenge, is trying to separate the two things, family time and work time. But I guess it's a good problem because it just means we're passionate about what we do.
As far as the business environment locally or the industry, you find that being a family-owned business affects the way that your customers see you or that your competitors may see you?
Yeah, I think overall it helps our personal relationships, and that's such a big part of the real estate industry, is having long-term relationships with repeat clients. And I think we get a lot of business from people who have trusted my dad for many years and now hopefully move on to trust me to represent them. And then also another advantage would be kind of the long-term perspective that comes along with that. So my dad and his business partners are planning to pass this business on to future generations, and therefore they can make longer term investments in the future of the company.
So being that next generation, what are some of the challenges that you faced kind of coming up as the next generation in the business, kind of, accepting the baton, I guess?
Yeah, that's definitely a good question. I think the biggest thing would be a resistance to change with some employees who have been doing some things the same way for many years and have just gotten comfortable doing things a certain way. And my generation, people at our office that are working alongside me are sometimes working on implementing changes. And that goes along with what I was saying before, storing things digitally versus on paper. Just as an example, we created we started using a software at our office to manage some of our properties where before was recorded just on paper. So getting people comfortable with those kind of practices has been a challenge, but once you get over that hurdle, I think everyone starts to see the rewards.
So JF Real Estate has been around for a while. What would you say the company's legacy is, or what would you like to think that it could be?
Yeah, so what we talk about a lot is being a firm that's based on integrity. And I think that has been true for the 30 years my dad has had the company, and I've seen it a lot in the 6 years that I've been involved. We like to do what's morally and ethically right for all of our clients and customers. And if we make that our priority, I think good things follow. There's a lot of difficult conversations and transactions that can happen in this business, but there's usually a good ethical or moral answer, and we just try to do our best to uphold to that.
Right. And just a last question. So you already talked a little bit about changes in the industry, but going forward, what's on the horizon, do you think, for JF Real Estate specifically, and in terms of commercial real estate in the region going forward?
Yeah, so it seems like I talked about some of those bigger office requirements, specifically in Syracuse. There tends to be a flight to quality, we're calling it. So the tenants that are looking for big spaces still, or even the smaller companies too, they are looking for newer or recently renovated spaces because they're trying to make the employee experience as positive as possible, whether they're coming in 2 to 3 days a week or full time. They're trying to provide the best atmosphere. So the Class A space, as we call it, has been performing really well, while the Class B or maybe unimproved space hasn't been doing quite as well. So we had the opportunity of representing City Center, the old Sibley's department store conversion, and Marty and Lynn out of our office did over 100,000 square feet of office leasing there, and got to see firsthand how these big companies are really looking to make that investment in office space, which is great to see. And then as far as our company goes going forward, just down the street from City Center, we recently announced our plans to do a 6-story apartment building right at the corner of Walton Street and Clinton Street. And it's an 88-unit apartment building that will really transform downtown in Armory Square. It's going through the city approval process now, and I think it was posted in Syracuse.com about a week or so ago. But that's been an exciting project that we're moving forward with and hoping to get started sometime soon.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us today, Matt. You've given us a lot of information about your company, and also about the commercial real estate market, which I'm sure a lot of people watching this will be very interested in. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.